And the recording should be starting. And if we want to start our warm-up now, we can just start with our normal washing machine breathing exercise.
Yeah, right downstairs in the corner.
Yes. Yep. Alrighty, so we're gonna start crisscross on the ground, and you can just kind of stretch a little bit, whatever feels good to wake up. And then we're gonna do a deep breath facing forward. And then we're gonna blow out to the side. Deep breath forward. And then blow out to the side. Deep breath forward. And then blow out to the side. Deep breath forward. And one last blow out to the side. Now we're going to do some nice neck rolls, just loosen everything up. And you can go in circles, or you can focus on like one spot and just move your head a little bit in that one spot. Feel free to reverse your circle direction whenever you want to. Give it 10 more seconds because I really do like some neck rolls. Alrighty. And whenever we're ready, we're going to switch and go ahead and do some cat-cow. So you can get on your hands and knees.
Cat-cow.
And we can start with a going stomach downwards, butt and head upwards. And do some deep breaths while you're here. So whenever you're ready, you can switch. So your head and your butt go down and your back reaches towards the ceiling. And again, I apologize. My brother feels like he's being louder than usual, but I don't know if you can hear him. All right, and you can switch again. So stomach down and your butt and your back go up. If you want to do a little tail wag go side to side, you're welcome to.
I'm not washing my butt.
And then we're going to do one last switch. We can put up our back, put down our head and our butt. And we can sit down on the ground. Alrighty. And I'm actually going to do the arm stretches sitting down to start today. We're going to start out with our shoulder stretches, which is going to mix it up a little bit. So start by hugging across your chest. And I always do like a little finger wiggle and wave to the wall to make sure that I'm not pulling too hard.
I won't.
And whenever you're ready, we can switch and do the other side. And now we're going to take one hand, reach behind our shoulder, other hand on elbow. Just 3 more seconds here. And then we're going to do the other hand. Reach behind and touch your shoulder, hand on elbow. Alrighty, and now we can stand up to do our arm circles.
Yay!
Yeah. Always good to make sure you have enough room for these ones. And you're just going to do nice, big, slow, or fast, whatever you're feeling today. Arm circles. And you can switch rotation direction. All righty. And we're going to do just a couple of arm swings to finish loosening up. So we can just kind of hug and then clap behind our back. Awesome. All righty. I think we're about ready to start our normal exercise for the day. So today we're going to start with a new one, and this is called a bear hold. So this one is a little bit like it's a little bit like a plank, but your position with your legs and the rest of your body is just like a little bit different. But it's similar where you're like on your hands and your feet and you're trying to like hold a position, right? So I'm going to show the position. So what you're going to do is you're going to start on your hands and your knees like this, right? And then what you're going to do is you're just going to lift your knees a very little bit. And this is just the position that you're going to be holding, all right? And you kind of want to think of it like a plank. You're just going to sit here and you're going to hold it, all right? And you probably want your feet to be about shoulder width apart. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do lift up and raise one hand to the sky if you can. If the balance is a little tricky on that one, that's a-okay, fine. And you can just hold the normal position, all right? So basically, you're just on your hands and knees like we would do for cat-cow, but then we just lift our knee up just an inch or two above the ground, all right? And you're just trying to like hold it nice and still, and then you're gonna be lifting up one hand and reaching for the ceiling, putting it back down, and then switching hands, all right? So we're gonna try to do this for 30 seconds if we can, all right? But you're totally free to take a break and put your knees back down before you try again, all right? So whenever you're ready, you can lift up your knees and get started. And go nice and slow. About 10 more seconds, you got this. All righty, and then you can go and release and just sit back down on the ground. Great work. That one should be a mix. You should feel a little bit in your stomach, but depending on like what muscles are strongest in you, you sometimes feel that one in your legs too. Totally depends. Sometimes you feel it on both. That's always a nice one to do at home because you can do some variations where you can lift up your hands like I was saying. If you remember, we did shoulder taps last week with planks. You can do that with the bears too. Or you can just hold it for however long you want. So that one is a really good one, just like the planks, for if you want to just switch it up a little bit and customize to what you're ready for. All right, so the next one we're going to do is our scissor kicks or our flutter kicks. So we're going to lie down on our back. And for these ones, the thing that's really important to remember is you're trying to keep your back really flat onto the ground, all right? Like you want to keep your back on the ground. And if you're finding you're having a really hard time doing that, I want you to lift your legs a little bit higher because the higher you lift your legs, the easier it is, okay? So basically with the flutter kicks, what we're going to do is you're just going to lift up your legs above the ground. All right. You're just going to kick them like this. You can also do little scissors like this, but basically you're just going to be wiggling around your legs, okay? And so the goal is you want to keep like your abs pushing your back to stay in the floor. You don't want to let your back get all up like this because then you can hurt yourself and then you're also not working any muscles. So you want to use your abs to keep your back nice and flat on the floor. And if it's too hard to do that and you can feel your back going up anyway, which is totally fine, this one's a really hard exercise, just lift up your feet a little bit higher and that'll help you out, okay? And if you're having a really hard time, you can take your hands and put them under your butt and that'll help you a little bit as well, okay? So whenever you're ready, we're gonna try to do this for 30 seconds. Alrighty, and just lift up your feet. You can start at like a medium height and then adjust based on what works for you. And you can do flutters or scissors. And remember, just try to be using your abs to hold your back down flat on the ground. And if you can't, like if you're finding your back going up anyway, definitely stop because you don't want to hurt yourself. Halfway there, you got this. You can totally take a break if you need to. This one is very tiring. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can just put your feet down and take a couple deep breaths before you sit up.
Yeah. I'm up.
That's definitely one that sometimes you're gonna feel in your back. So we can do, while we're just recovering for a second, we can just do a couple of kind of like our washing machines from the beginning. So just rotate a little bit just to make sure our back is loosened up. Great work. All righty. And we can take a short breather in case anyone's tired, and then we're going to do our wall push-ups, our last exercise for the day, all right? So in case anyone doesn't remember, what you do is you're gonna put your hands either shoulder width apart like this on the wall, or you can put them together like a diamond. And they're gonna be kind of about at chest height on the wall. And then you're gonna lean in, bend your arms as far as you can, and then push out. And the deal is, if you want to make it harder, you walk your feet backwards further away from the wall and you start lower on the wall. And if you want to make it easier, you can walk your feet forward towards the wall and go a little bit higher on the wall. All right. So just find whatever wall you're going to do. Make sure it's big enough for the hand hold type you're going to do. So my hands are going to be together like this, so I can use a tiny little bit of wall. If you have difficulty with that and you want to have your hands a little bit wider, you probably want a slightly bigger piece of wall. But you definitely don't need a ton. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to try to do 15 wall push-ups, all right? And try to go nice and slowly. And remember to keep breathing. And feel free to adjust your position or your height as you're going. Five more. You got this in 3. 1. And you can push off the wall and just shake your arms a little bit. All righty. And then that's going to be it for the exercise portion, and we can get to our cool down. And of course, remember, if at any point, like during the workout or whatever, you're just like, that was not enough for me, you can totally repeat any of the exercises we're doing, or you can do them again after class, whatever feels good for you. I just don't want to spend too much time on exercises if people are very tired of them already. All right, we're gonna start our cool down with our normal little swings up, standing up. So put your feet about shoulder width apart. And then we're just gonna bend over and we can relax our back and just swing a little bit. And whenever you're ready, you can spread out your feet a little bit more And sit a little bit lower and swing a little bit there too. And then we're gonna go ahead and spread our legs as far as we can while still being comfortable. You don't want to hurt yourself. And if you want to go ahead and try to touch the floor or your toes, a little bit extra stretch, that works too. If touching the floor is you're finding it like a little bit too easy, you can always walk your hands backwards between your legs. Alrighty. Great work. And whenever you're ready, we can come back in and sit down. All right. And then now we're going to do just some nice knee hugs. And again, if your back is feeling tight at all, just remember you can kind of rotate your torso. The knee I'm hugging, my toes are pointing this way, right? So the best way to stretch your back a little bit during these is you like face away from the direction your toes are pointing. Yeah. And remember, you should feel this one kind of in your upper leg or your butt area. And whenever you're ready, we can just switch legs. All righty. And now we can just do our child's pose and cobra. So just kind of curl up in a little ball on the ground, as comfy as you can get. And just allow yourself to take a couple of nice breaths there to start. And just kind of let your back and everything else just kind of melt into the floor. And if you're having a hard time picturing that, I really just like to think from my head to my toes or my toes to my head, just every single individual body part getting really warm and just kind of sinking into the ground. And it's important to keep remembering to do some deep breathing while you're here because you are in a little bit of a weird position. And whenever you're ready, we can switch to Cobra. So then we're just going to lie down on our stomach. And then you get to push up either to your elbows or all the way up to your hands. It is up to you. And remember, in Cobra, sometimes it feels like you're stretching your like upper body too much to breathe deeply. If that's the case, just really focus on doing a couple of deep breaths. And if you don't feel like you can get them in, definitely go a little bit lower. You don't need to push up as high. For example, if you were having a hard time breathing up here, you could go down to your elbows and then keep trying to breathe because breathing is really important here. Well, it's always important, but great job. And whenever you're ready, we can go right back to child's pose. And I know sometimes Cobra will make the lower back tight, so definitely focus right there on trying to get your lower back to melt into the ground. And if you want a little bit of an extra stretch, you can take your hands and you can walk them forward. So they're stretching in front of you. And this can help stretch your upper back a little bit, especially you kind of like plant them on the ground and almost pull. And then you can bring them back. Just relax. And whenever you're ready, you can sit on up. And again, I think I've said this a couple of times, but child's pose is a really good one to do if you're ever feeling stressed out or like really tense, or if you're having a hard time sleeping. It's a really nice one just to relax a little bit. So you don't just have to use it as like a stretch here. All right. And then next we're going to do our baby pose. So again, that's just on our backs. And you kind of can choose whatever you want to do, whatever feels good. So you're just going to lift up your feet or your knees, and you can either like grip your knees, or you can take your feet and you can do little kicks, or you can just pull to either side of your body, whatever's kind of striking your fancy today. I definitely am a fan of just like pulling my knees because it's a good stretch for like the inner thigh area. But and of course, with all stretches, don't pull to the point that it hurts. So just do what's comfy for you. All right. And we can pop on over to the wall and do our calf stretches. So as you guys probably all remember, we're just going to go over to the wall. Very similar to our wall push-up position. We're going to kind of walk our feet back from the wall and lean our hands forward onto it. And we're going to put one foot back and one foot forward. And the important part here is to keep our heel on the ground. And then we're just going to push, push, push on the wall as hard as we can. And you should be feeling that kind of in this calf muscle right here. If you're not feeling it, you can walk your foot back even a little bit more. And if you're feeling it too much and it's hurting, definitely walk your foot in because you don't want to pull that muscle. And whenever you're ready, you can switch your feet position and just push. And make sure, of course, your heel is on the ground on this leg too. And remember to take a couple of deep breaths while you're here. Alrighty. Whenever you're ready, you can walk your feet in. You can do some little ankle twists, whatever feels good. And now that we've been doing those wall pushes, I know sometimes it gets your shoulders a little tense. So we're going to do a couple of shoulder stretches, pretty much the same ones we do at the start. And these ones, now that you're warmed up, you can pull like a little bit harder. Obviously not so hard that it hurts, but if you want to try to get a slightly deeper stretch, you can always just try to like hug your arm a little closer to your chest, or you can try to push down this shoulder a little bit, because if you lift up this shoulder, you don't really get a good stretch. If you push the shoulder down, that's how you get a better stretch. Alrighty, and we can switch our arms. Alrighty, and we can drop them. And I think that's it for today. So I'm going to turn off the recording.